So, how should product managers write problem statements? That's a good question. I think to get started, we need to understand first what is a problem statement. So, a problem statement is a concise description of an issue to be addressed or a condition to be improved upon. It identifies the gap between a current problem or state and a desired goal state of a process or product. The first condition of solving a problem is understanding the problem, which can be done by creating a problem statement. So, here we go. So, a good problem statement has certain characteristics or qualities. So, let's rattle off a few of those. First and foremost, it should provide clear focus and frame the problem correctly. A lot of times I refer to this as the elevator pitch, right? You want to make sure you can explain what the problem is that you're trying to solve and how you intend to solve the problem. A good problem statement inspires your team. It makes your team ready and excited about the work that needs to be done. A good problem statement informs criteria for evaluating competing ideas. So, if you have competing ideas, you have some good information that you could use to leverage to figure out what direction you want to go. A good problem statement empowers your team to make independent decisions. I love that one. I think too often we don't let the team make enough decisions. I think it's important where if it's not a matter of life or death, and we know that either way is going to be fine, to often let the team and find ways to let the team make decisions. A good problem statement captures the hearts and minds of the people that you meet. It makes them feel like this is directly impacting them and what they do. A good problem statement prevents you from creating concepts that are all things to all people. You don't want to get stuck in this mediocrity phase of we're everything to everyone because then you're nothing to no one, right? A good problem statement should be discreet and not broad. You want to make it to the point and discreet. And I think that that's something that a lot of people struggle with, especially today. People, for whatever reason, don't want to keep things at a high level. So you're probably asking now, that's all greatly, but why is it even important to have a problem statement? Well, it examines an issue from multiple angles. It identifies who the problem impacts, what the impacts are, where the problem occurs, and why and when it needs to be fixed. This helps organizations determine the extent of an issue. So if you're starting to write a problem statement, you should start, there's 5 steps total. And I think it's pretty easy. I was going to say 4, but I'll make it 5. I'll break it out. So step number 1, you need to identify the problem. That's easy. Step number 2, you need to put the problem into context. Use an example if you need to. Let us know exactly what the problem is. Number 3, identify a root cause. So instead of constantly worrying about symptoms, you're going to start talking about what the root cause is that actually caused the real problem. Step 4, describe what your ideal outcome would be. And step 5 is propose a solution that bridges that gap. It's kind of like grow. You want to get a goal, right? You want to talk about what's our goal, where do we want to go? Then you want to talk about our reality. What's our reality, and how far are we from the goal? Then you want to talk about your opportunities or options, and your W, what will you do? It kind of follows that same pattern, the problem statement. So when you're putting it into context, before you write, you need to have a clear picture of the problem itself. At this stage, you want to discuss the what, where, when, and who. So this is like the who, what, where, when, why, and how, right? Think about these additional questions to help you frame an impactful statement. Is the problem limited to a certain demographic or region? Which people have attempted to solve the issue in the past? What do people already know about this issue, and how can we leverage it? All of those are great questions, right? Then you go about explaining the relevance of the problem. So the problem statement should address not only what the problem is, but why is it so important to solve? Why do we even need to address this? You need to communicate why it matters to the business and the potential dangers if it goes unresolved, especially if it's an actual, real problem that needs to be addressed right away. My rule is anything that gets bumped up to the top of your backlog or anything that gets bumped to be the first item in the next sprint, you should probably have something like this there. Who will feel the consequences of the problem if we do nothing? That's a good question. What is the financial impact of the problem? Does the problem have any relevance to other areas of the business? Does the problem impact the wider society? How will solving this problem increase our understanding of the business? And then back up your claim with quantifiable data. Don't just say things out of the sky. I think this is a bad idea. Quantifiable data, my friend. Put something out there so that we have something to look at and go, now I see what you're talking about. I call this part the wine and cheese. Never come to me with just wine. Always bring some cheese with it. You need to propose a solution. After doing a thorough investigation of the problem, here's what I propose. And I think that you need to always come to the table with some form of solution. You need to explain the benefits of your solution and make sure everyone understands why your solution is good. And it's easy to pull it all together. And I think if I hate to do this to you, because you have so many of these, but if you start with just a template at first and you say, identify the problem using one sentence and define the problem. In the background section, use evidence to describe and explain the context of the problem. In relevance, describe why the problem actually matters and who it matters to. And then objectives, in your conclusion, propose solutions to the problem based on your research and understanding of it. If you want to use the questions format to do this, you can ask, what is the real problem? Right? What is the real problem we're trying to solve? Who are the users that are facing this problem? How do we know it's a real problem? What is the value generated by solving this problem for the business and for the consumers? And why should we solve this problem now? Is it imperative that we do it now, or can it be something that waits? So that's going to do it. And I can tell you, problem statements are a good way to go because it gets you thinking in the right frame of mind. So if you ever have a chance to do this, I recommend you give it a try. It actually works quite well. That's going to do it for this episode of the podcast. If you have a topic you'd like us to discuss, learn more at AgileDad.com. We would love to hear from you. And as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.